Oh, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Angery Nation Podcast with your favorite Angery American. And tonight's kind of special because I've got my favorite hillbilly on with me tonight, Mr. Franklin Horton himself, the man, the myth, and the legend, all in one, right there.
Well, I've long been honored to be your favorite hillbilly, man.
we did. A lot of people probably don't know that. Like, me and you kind of came out. I came out like just a year ahead of you, I think it was, and we met at that mountain Readiness, or I mean, Heritage Life Skills up there in Waynesville. And so me and Franklin have been friends for as long as Franklin's been writing. And how many titles do you even have now, dude? Because I know you got more than me by a long shot.
It's over 40, but I don't.
Wow.
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I'm like 23, I think, right now. 23. And so I'm going to ask the question right out of the gate here. And I want to say this to y'all, you guys in the peanut gallery out here. If you're watching and you've got specific questions you want to ask Franklin, just put a hashtag Franklin up and we will get those questions answered for you, like directly from the man himself. How the hell do you get so much writing done? Like, I know everybody wants to know, because I'll talk about why I don't, but let's talk about why you do. So,
I think I've got a little obsession with it because I tried for so long to break into this and didn't have any luck. So when I finally got some momentum going, I'm like, I'm not going to let this momentum stop. So I'm usually writing by about 5 a.m, and I write through the day, 6 days a week. I get like 60 or 70 hours of writing a week.
Good God, Gertie. Yeah, that's nice. I don't see 5 a.m.
It's obsession, man. It's obsession.
I'm still asleep at 5 a.m. unless I'm going fishing or something. But that's all about to change for me too, because I'm going to do this, go back to working for a living shit. That's awesome to get that kind of. But like, when you sit down, you're saying 60 to 70 hours a week of writing. That's a lot of fucking time on a keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Like, are you working on one project at a time, or are you kind of trying to break that up a little bit in those hours of, work on this one for the bulk of it? Maybe I'll switch to something else just to let my brain,
Oh yeah, I don't like to sit that long. So, I'm writing, then I take a break and I do merch stuff, and then I do ads, and then I'm doing, stuff on future projects. So, there's a lot of different business aspects that I'm smashing in to kind of, because if it was just pure creation the whole time, I can't do that. My brain would blow up.
I don't think anybody can. I've always referred to it as it's like a well. You could draw the well down, but when the water gets low, you got to stop and you got to let that thing refill. And then you can draw her back down again and she'll refill. So that's how I could try to tell people, and because like today I had a great day. Right, today was fantastic. Even though I spent all day arguing with my bank, the IRS, the state of Florida. Them three jackasses.
And those are people you can't reason with either.
No, you can't reason with them. They're extremely hard to even call and cuss in person. Like, it's even hard to get a person on the phone. But it's a simple mistake that my bank's making, that like they won't open the new account for me for my new business because the name on they say the name of my EIN number from the IRS doesn't match my company name, but it does because the company name is the American Line Company, but the IRS leaves the off. I even printed off why the IRS does that from their website and sent it to my bank, and they still didn't buy it. So I had to get a whole nother form from the IRS to try to send it. So tomorrow I'm going to open that bank account one way or another because this company needs to be operational come fucking Monday.
Yeah, the bank account's the important part. You got to have that.
Yeah, I got to have that before I can, close the deal on all the insurance policies that I got to buy, which are substantial and expensive. But enough about that horse shit. That's just one of the things I'm doing, which is what keeps me from writing. But today, like, I had a great day of writing, but still dealing with all that. So I know what you're saying. You're not sitting at the desk for, 10 hours a day simply writing. There's all the other stuff. You're doing your social media. You're doing all the other business aspect, merch orders, keeping up with that kind of crap too. So that's all.
Plus, I think writing different series helps because, I write Borrowed World for a couple of months out of the year, and then I just put it aside. And then I'm in Mad Mick, and then I'm in something else. So being able to jump in a different world kind of makes it fresh. If it was the same series all the time, that would be hard for me.
I can honestly say that when I sit down to write, it's hard for me. Like today when I sat down, I was about 1,800 words into what I'd done for the day. But when I realized like I'm not listening, there's no music playing. Usually I have YouTube running, just letting it play what the hell ever it plays, just for. I need some noise in the room. My tinnitus is extremely bad, and quiet places are really unpleasant for me to be in because my ears just ring so loud. So I always got like YouTube playing, or I'll play music or something. But like today, I was like 1,800 words in and realized there's nothing playing. There's no noise in here. I've sat in silence for like 4 hours this morning, cranking this stuff out and dealing with other crap. All right, here we go. Horton here's a who needs to teach AA to write more. Well, that's not a question, Diana. That's a statement. Hey, look, I wish I could dedicate 60 hours a week, but I can't. Too much life shit gets in my way. We're down to one vehicle right now, and it's the Humvee. My truck is in the shop. The Jeep got totaled. The Mustang's in the shop. So we're driving the Humvee for everything right now.
That's brutal.
Well, the Humvee's fun to drive, but on a daily, especially since the AC belt broke and I got to replace it, I'm trying to do that tomorrow maybe. It definitely adds a little suck factor. Here's one for you though, Franklin. When did you start? And what got you to it, brother?
13 years old, reading Stephen King. And I've told this story before that before that, I thought all these writers were like these old boring guys in jackets with like leather elbow patches and stuff, smoking pipes and all that stuff. And who the hell wants to be that?
Oh, I got a story. Keep going, but I got a story about that very scenario. Go for it.
So then Stephen King comes out and he's drinking beer and he's snorting coke and he's writing horror stories and he's partying and he's like the AC/DC of writers. And I'm like, this guy makes this look fun. He's living the rock star life and not like the boring pipe smoking college professor life. So that's what I wanted to do.
Well,
I got into Stephen King.
All right. So you channeled Stephen King. I'll tell you who I channel. As far as a writer, if I'm looking upon one for encouragement or how to, that sort of thing, and that's Hunter Thompson. So well, it's so funny you're wearing this shirt tonight. I saw it when I first came on, but like he's legitimately a literary hero of mine. Like I've read pretty much everything he's ever written. I used to follow him when he was still alive, paid attention to what he was doing. I remember the day that they announced his death when he shot himself with that 3.
Oh yeah, I wear the brand.
Look at that! Look, all right, yeah, all right. So you're claiming Stephen King, but you're a closeted Hunter Thompson fan.
Oh yeah, Stephen King got me started, but it's Hunter Thompson who taught me to be in the story.
Yes,
the Gonzo journalism.
Gonzo journalism. I'm a huge. And if you guys don't know who Hunter Thompson is, he doesn't write what Franklin and I write, or he didn't. He was very much a political writer, but very not like you would think in politics. Hunter Thompson wrote about politics and made you want to finish reading the book, like Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I mean, all the stuff that he's got out there. There's so many books. If you're looking for stuff to read while you're waiting to meet a Franklin, you won't go wrong picking a Hunter Thompson novel out off the shelf.
He was one of the first journalists to put himself in the story. So it wasn't just that he was on the campaign trail. It's that he was riding the bus stoned with, a bottle of liquor in each hand. And, he made himself part of the adventure.
His run with the Hells Angels, and the aftermath of that run. Like the guy's story is just fucking incredible. It shows the resilience of the human body and that it can absorb that level of narcotics, alcohol, and just physical abuse and keep going,
And I still live a little bit of a Hunter Thompson life here because, he had that cabin where he could go on his front porch at any time and shoot at targets. And that's kind of the way it is here. You can go out, you can raise hell, you can shoot at whatever you want within sight. And, that's Hunter Thompson right there.
And that's you and that's me. We're out here in the middle of nowhere. I had a rifle tripod set up on the side of the house the other day, fire and suppress at my gun range, which is way the hell in the back. But I knew it was going to my gun range. because I'm like you. I'm not going to live in a place where I can't do that. And the other night, I guess we had some friends over, and it was about midnight. And one of the gals is like, she's like, I hear something over there in the woods, and it's big. And I'm like, I said, no, it's an armadillo. Bet. And so I walk over there, and all I got is on me at the moment is my Glock 19. But there he is. And so splash one more armadillo in the Great Armadillo War. I'm 9-0 at the moment. I've killed 9 out here since I moved in this place. I hate them with a passion. But I put 3 hydro shocks into him. And why 3? Because he was still wiggling. And you shoot till they stop wiggling. And I go tell, and Mel heard the gunfire and everything. She's like, oh, he killed an armadillo. And she's like, Nancy, our neighbor, she's probably going to be calling in a minute. And so I go to the garden where we were all hanging out, and Mel's phone's laying there. I pick it up and look, and our neighbor's already texted. And she's a sweetheart, not knocking her.
Yeah.
She's already texted. And she's like, hey, are you guys shooting tonight? Because they never know living next to me what the fuck's going on. And I just replied on Mel's phone. I'm like, no, he killed an armadillo. Not fun shooting. This wasn't for fun.
Here it's raccoons. And my raccoon war.
Mel would be inviting them into the house. She'd leave a trail of dog.
My daughter's the same way. She goes outside and she's like, run, he's coming.
Run, he's coming.
Yeah. But with thermal, they don't have a chance. You can see their little glowing bodies out there hiding in the woods.
And the last armadillo I killed, I stalked that one for like 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks to find him and kill him. And when I finally did it, it was about 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm out in my yard in my robe, just my robe.
Your tactical robe.
I've got my helmet and my nods on, and I'm slinking around with a rifle and a pistol. And I found him with my thermal because I could hear him, but I'm looking and I couldn't see him. So I rolled one eye out of the way and put my thermal up there, and I'm like, oh shit, he's right there, and able to smoke that one too. So yeah, I'll say I embody the Hunter Thompson esque lifestyle to a degree. I don't party like he did, and
I don't think a normal person could,
Yeah.
And then he did. He got his ashes shot out of a cannon when he died.
Yeah.
They had a big party at his house. They put his cremated ashes in a cannon and shot him in the air.
Owl Creek.
Yeah.
Yep, that was where he lived, up in Colorado. And yeah, I remember reading an account from somebody who had gone into his house one time, and they just talked about the sheer number of firearms that were literally everywhere. Like Hunter's house was full of loaded guns. There were guns everywhere. Like
he was a big 44 Magnum guy. So
he did love him some 44 Mag.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. That's
funny. And I think one of the things that we both probably do is like when we're writing and you're getting into the zone, like, with an action scene or something like that, when you can take a break and go out into your range and shoot and smell the gunpowder and, kind of get yourself in that zone, it puts you in the story and kind of gets your adrenaline up to where you can come back and write it more intense. And that's a Hunter Thompson thing too, I think, putting yourself in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was part of what I was working on today. I had to go back and make some changes on something, but the characters I'm writing about are in a helicopter, and so I go to YouTube and just pull up some Apache videos to play in the background so I can hear a helicopter, just hear a helicopter turbine and rotors slap in the air, because like you just said, that kind of thing revitalizes you too. But I do the same thing. I can go to my range and shoot whenever I feel like it, and we've got a flat screen TV has very unexcitedly died on my range. When they go bad, we take them out there to shoot them, but they're no fun. They're not like old TVs. There's no vacuum tube. There's nothing fun that happens.
Yeah, they don't pop like a CRT TV.
No, a 50 cal goes through them so fast that it might as well not be there. Buckshot, and then your, like maybe API rounds are fun to shoot at it. If you had some, I would think they'd be fun to shoot at it. I'm saying I think those would be fun. Or armor piercing incendiaries would probably be a good time. But we found that buckshot is the best thing for them, the most fun anyway. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, that's like with pumpkins. We shoot a lot of pumpkins around here, and it's the same way. A shotgun makes a much better pumpkin explosion.
See, all right, like I would love to go to a pumpkin shoot one time. Like I'd pay money to be there, but only if there's like a row of 50 pumpkins out there. and one of them is full of tannerite.
Shit. And you don't know which one?
Just one, and you have no idea which one.
Now, I'll do a lot of things at my house, but tannerite is one thing that I don't do here because I know there'd be enough people in the neighborhood to say, what the hell?
Oh, my neighbors, like, legitimately, if there's gunfire in the neighborhood, it's automatically assumed to be me. I've got some new neighbors on one side of me. I haven't met them yet. All I know is they're bringing up their dog hunters. If you're a dog hunter out there, guys, more power to you. I'm not trying to stop you, but I'm not a fan of it. And I'm not a real big fan of the folks that do it in my area because of the way they behave in the woods. So that's who's moved in next door. They haven't brought their dogs in yet, but I understand they're bringing a kennel in of dogs. And so I'm going to have to do some creative barking control, I have a feeling. But I think we got it handled. So,
yeah, I've got that. There's the same thing in Virginia. There's certain laws for these people that hunt with dogs that don't observe normal property rights.
yeah, that's I've got that problem. I've had it before, but my neighbors understand now. Everybody that has dogs is to keep them out of my yard, especially because all of them have been told, like, if it comes at me, I'm going to shoot it. Like, I have one neighbor that's a sheriff's deputy, and their dog was in my yard fighting my two dogs.
Well, and part of the backstory on this, Chris, is that you and dogs don't have a normal relationship.
No.
Not everybody may know this, but you are dog bait.
Yeah, me and dogs do not always click. Every time is a roll of the dice. And it's not like I come at a dog fearful. I'm not afraid of dogs in the least bit. I know exactly how to stop a dog from attacking me. Every time works flawlessly. But yeah, me and canines, we're not necessarily cut from the same cloth. So, their dogs over here one time, like I said, fighting two of mine. And I go out to break it up, and that dog comes after me to the point that I drew a pistol and fired a warning shot into the ground at it, which made it run home, which is a smart thing for it to do, because had it hesitated, I would have shot it. And a lot of people, for those folks out there that have dogs and are dogs, I'm not knocking you, and God bless you. It's just me and canines don't mix that way. I like working dogs, as long as they're not biting me. I've been bit by them fuckers too. Like legit working dogs. But to me, I'm not a dog guy, just because I've had a fucked up relationship with the canine family.
It's a dysfunctional relationship.
It is very dysfunctional relationship. Very dysfunctional. So, well, how about you and canines, Franklin? Are you a dog guy, or are you a cat guy?
No, I'm a dog guy. When I was a kid, my parents had like 22 dogs.
That's hoarding. That's way too much.
They bred dogs, and my dad rabbit hunted with like tons and tons of dogs. So we've got 3 dogs now, which is plenty for me. That's plenty to take care of. But
3 dogs is a lot of dogs. Well, actually, Loki's mom here, Loki, Miss Meta, Loki's their dog, and he does love me. That dog genuinely likes me. He will seek me out, sit in my lap, want some loving. Loki is a good dog. But like I said, I've had working dogs get on me before, and that's not even a little bit fun, because they know what they're fucking doing. You know what I mean? They're there. They know how to take care of business. So,
well, I'm definitely not a cat guy, because one look at a cat, and that if it was a little bigger, it'd kill you.
Yeah, it would eat you out of spite.
They got no loyalty to people.
None whatsoever. Oh, none. Who is this? Who said that? Who we got here? I can't even read that. I don't have my glass. Homesteader Spectacular. Is that who I'm saying? God, my computer is not cooperating. I'm sorry. Homesick Polar Bear. See, look, I'm old, guys. I'm getting. Franklin's wearing his glasses because he knows he needs to. I should.
Oh, yeah.
But mine are readers, and I don't know if this range will help. Let's see. Oh, not even a little bit. I'm great. I mean, I can see great past right here. Like, well, actually, I guess I need to say to that monitor at this point. Past that monitor, I can see awesome. Anything inside of that, forget it. It's can't read it. But we're glad you're here. Thanks for popping in. Hang on a minute. Cats are the base. Yeah, I'm just catching up on comments. So, What's the future looking like for your work? You know, a lot of guys out there are trying to talk to Hollywood and stuff like that. You know, I made that run a few years ago. We took a bunch of meetings. We sat down with a bunch of studios, and I told every one of them fucking no to their face. So I'm just curious, like, what else you? I mean, I know you're writing your ass off because you're churning them out. You're a book machine. I mean, you're not a book mill like a certain, damn it, Bobby, that we know. I knew you'd get it, but
Yeah.
But what do you got coming up? What's on deck, man, from Franklin Horton?
Well, like one or two times a year, there's some false alarm where somebody calls me and they're interested in something along that line. But the thing is, everybody I've talked to is talking about like an 8-year turnaround. From the time they buy your stuff to the time it shows up is like 8 years. Well, who the hell knows what's going on in 8 years? I decided that rather than spend any time and money on that, I'm just going to keep cranking out books because that's a consistent check. I know I've got money coming in. I've fooled with screenplays a little bit. I've fooled with entertainment attorneys a little bit, but for the most part,
Oh,
it's a waste of time.
entertainment attorneys is an expensive hobby, bro. I don't know what yours costs, but I know what mine costs, and you know, at $7.50 an hour, they're expensive bastards to have working for you.
Yeah, and I've got two of them.
Oh
So,
Jesus, yeah. Well, I just got an email today from an attorney, not an entertainment attorney either. This is my copyright guy. Hollywood came at us 3 times, but we couldn't make ends meet. Yeah, Orlando Prepper, you're not going to. They're not there for your interest, bro. Um, they're never working for your interest. They're always counter to, like every studio we sat with was like, oh, you know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and like the best example I can give is I was sitting with Steve Stark, president of MGM Pictures. Like, I mean, the fucking man. We were in a penthouse conference room of their building down in Studio City, and I was brought in by a very high profile producer that works for Dick Wolf. I'm not gonna say his name in case he don't want me to, but because I pissed him off in this meeting. So we're up there. This was our big one. This is the one we thought that was really gonna roll out. And when they saw what we had, you know, I gave them sales numbers. We had a pitch deck, lookbook, sizzle reel, like a screenplay. We had budgets. We had everything. We had a full, and we still do. I still have all this shit. But we gave it to MGM, and they got super excited. And they were like, this is the next Walking Dead. This is the next $1 billion franchise. And then one of the guys in the room who was a little, how do you say? I'd say quirtsy, be the word I'd use. A little quirtsy, a little, you know. He had a swish to his walk. Let's leave it at that. He sits up and he's like, "Oh, this would be the perfect time for us to tell the story of a black man living in the South." And I'm sitting on the other side of the table. This guy's over here, and I'm looking at Steve, and I kind of turn my head. I look at this dude. I can't remember the name of the show. Used to be a show that had a gay couple on it. One was a little dude with a thin beard, kind of ginger, and the other one was a bigger guy. Was a brunette dude. He was like over the top gay. That's how I saw this guy. He was like over the top. And so when I looked at him, I just said, and what the fuck would you know about that? I said it just like that too. Very not business speak, but I was trying to impress upon them that I'm not your normal LA kind of fucking person thinking you're gonna make me rich. And he just kind of, excuse me. I said, what the fuck would you know about the experience of a black man in the South? I'm like, you're a lily white gay man in L.A. I'm like, you have no idea of what his life is like. I said, and number one, the biggest concern is that the character that you're talking about is not a perpetual victim. He's not of the victim class. He's a hardworking dude, and he's loyal to those that are loyal to him. And he works his ass off. And there's a couple other dumb things said. And at some point in that meeting, I stood up, I looked at Steve, and I said, all right, I'm sorry. I looked at the producer that brought me. I said, hey, we're done here. I'll be in the lobby. I walked out of the room, down to the lobby, and I was waiting for him when he came out. And he was pissed off at me. Like, he was pissed. He said I embarrassed him and a bunch of shit. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I told you what my hard stops were. And anything resembling the woke ideology. And I remember, guys, this was like 7 years ago at this point. And woke wasn't what it is, what it was last year. I'll say that. Even then, it was still pretty bad. And I told the producer, I'm like, that's a hard stop. Anytime they want to do something like that, that's the end of conversations. And the other thing was, like, the male character in my books, they wanted to make her a black woman, neurosurgeon who gave it all up to be a stay-at-home mom.
Well, the thing is, when they buy your property, they buy the right to adapt it to anything they want. And they own the characters. They can do what they want with the characters. That's what they assume they are selling, or that you are selling them, is the right to adapt it. So, people are like, well, hold on to this, hold on to that. But once you take that money, it's hard to hold on to anything. They do what they want, and they throw you out if they don't like what you're saying.
Absolutely. And like The Walking Dead is a prime example. The writer of the comic book that started the whole thing, like, out of that deal, and I haven't followed up to see how lawsuits, everything went, but like when Walking Dead was big, like when it was huge, I was looking at it as an example and trying to figure out how to crack the code to get into Hollywood, because I figured I could do the same thing. But they're always going to do their thing. And when they buy it, like you said, if they buy it and your contract's fucked up, they can do whatever the hell they want with your, they own your world now. You no longer own it. It's like signing with a publisher. Penguin Books or Plume of Penguin Random House owns my first 5 books. They own the cover art. They own the interior. They own all the IP. They own it in perpetuity. So you're lucky that you've never done that. It makes my life a little more difficult in dealing with them. But they still.
Well, I remember your experience because you told me about it the first time we met, and it made an impression.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And so that was even back. That was just the publisher side of things that me and you were talking about, because I had signed with a publisher, and you lose a lot. It's their property now. Like when I wrote Going Home, Gold Dollar, the scene with Gold Dollar and Morgan was different originally. So in the book, Gold Dollar lifts his shirt to show Morgan a pistol. That never occurred in the original manuscript. That was my compromise to them, because they said, Morgan's the good guy. He can't attack somebody for no reason. And I was like, what do you mean no reason? I'm like, everybody reading this can see where this is going and knows what's about to happen. I said, there's a reason. It's very obvious. Everybody can see it. I said, and everybody will see it. And they're like, no, we can't do that. He's going to be the good guy. He's got to be attacked first. And I said, messaged an email back, and I said, this is the farthest I will go. And I did lifted his shirt to show a pistol, because I tried to explain to them. I said, you people don't understand that second place in this world is the first fucking loser. And losers die in this world. They don't get a second chance. You're just fucking dead.
What's funny about that is that's because you and I know our audience. We know our readership. That's the world we come from.
Yes.
But I get emails, and I'm sure you've got these too, from people who are like, yeah, you guys write about an unrealistic demographic. You write about these people that always have guns, and they have good guns, and they have body armor, and they have, optics and all this stuff. And, normal people don't have that. And I'm like, well, you're hanging around the wrong normal people. You need a better circle of friends.
I was going to say, your friends suck, but I also I get it. Everybody has a budget, everybody only makes so much money a year, and they got to make all that shit work. And so I get that. I've got a project that's on deck that will be very enlightening to the people that say that. I'm gonna demonstrate an entirely different method of. It's not an end of the world book. It's going to be more about an overreaching government and what the civilian population can do, and the difference that a single man who is committed and dedicated to what he's doing can do. And if you read it correctly, It's a checklist. I'm gonna just say that it's just a checklist. You know, if you check all the boxes, you can make shit happen, and it's easier and scarier than to me. It's scary how easy this is to pull off, even in the U.S. I'm not going to give no cues to that at the moment, but it is so simple to assassinate somebody today, and you don't need a firearm, and you don't even need to be in the same zip code when it occurs. But it'll all be in this upcoming work. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Technology is a powerful force multiplier, but that shit works both ways. And like you said, the people complaining they don't have all the cool shit. Then you guys have got to do it the hard way. And all your shit better be on point, because if Op4 has nods or thermal, you're fucked. And if you don't have it, you're fucked. That you're not going to win that fight.
And I think the lesson for people like you and me in this is, as alluring as it is, the idea of seeing our books on the big screen or in a streaming series or whatever, is we make more of an impact by focusing our time on writing books, and by, talking about our books, and by doing events where we interact with people. That is a greater impact than some tweaked movie would be.
Yeah, the face-to-face time. And I'll be honest, I walked away from an 8-figure deal. Like, I said no to 8 figures. So it was a huge thing. I contemplated it like literally for a fraction of a second before I was just like, fucking no. I'm not doing that. I said, here are my conditions. I counter-offered, here are my conditions. They didn't like my conditions at all, which was creative, not control, but input with final say. And yeah, those guys, they could, like you said, every couple of years, somebody will hit you up and be like, hey, we'd like to do this. And it was one of those, someone emailed me, just wanted to option it. And I'm like, here are my requirements if you wish to proceed. And I laid it out in a very succinct email. And they replied back, thank you for your response, but we're not interested. And they weren't interested because, and I know you'll feel this, Franklin, like someone contacts you because they like your work. They like what you're doing. And they're like, we want to make this into something else. And you're like, all right, let's make this into something else. And like, well, here's how we're going to do it. And you're like, well, that's not my thing. That's not what I wrote. That's not even the world. The fans aren't even going to recognize this. And I hate to use the word fans, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick, but the readers who enjoy the books. And you got to say no to those people, because Hollywood, up until very recently, and I think Snow White was the one that pushed everybody over the precipice of this. It was all about messaging, and messaging was the only thing that mattered. And the messaging always had to be on point, just like the progressives and the Democrats. They're always pushing that narrative. But we're starting to see that collapse. Franklin, have you kept up on what's happening with this stupid ass like Snow White movie? What's going on?
Yeah, I have, and there were signs of that even last year, because I had a director contact me about Locker 9, and he's like, I have a studio who is requesting, they want young adult projects that appeal to a more conservative audience. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And so they took it in, they pitched it, and they came out and they're like, maybe not that conservative.
Good for you, Franklin.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
It was
take that as a compliment, bro. Look. I've sat in several of these meetings. I've seen the people who, and the thing is they are so fucking arrogant. Like the story where I was talking earlier, like they approach me. They like what I have. They don't like what I have. That's not what they're after. They're not after my IP. They don't give a shit. They're not after your IP, Franklin. They're after your following. That's what they're after. Let me see here. Franklin, can we get a grassroots campaign to keep your story? All right. So, Mike, I've got a little operation underway down here in Florida. There's some folks that were just elected to the Florida Senate that I'm getting a meeting set up with. They like to support conservative causes, and they have very extremely deep pockets. So the outgoing Speaker of the Florida House is a friend of mine. The guy that he just left office, he termed out, and he's setting this up because I'm trying to encourage the development of I don't know what we'll call it, but for right now I'm calling it Hollywood East. We're on the East Coast. We're on the right side of America. Hollywood is on the West Coast. It is on the left side of America. I'm like, why don't we try to create a legitimate threat to Hollywood for production in Florida? Let's start it here. And these guys are in office now. And so I've got a meeting that's being set up to go sit down with them and try to pitch this. And my pitch is, let's establish a conservative network, be it streaming. I don't care how you do it, but let's establish a conservative network that creates, produces, presents, supports entertainment aimed squarely at average America, which is average Americans are right leaning. They just are. We believe in freedom and liberty and things like that. Because there is no market that serves them. I'm like, Hollywood is all we have. And Franklin, I don't know if you noticed, like during COVID and all that shit, and especially like a year or two after, and it's still happening. Did you notice how Hollywood had nothing new coming out during those years? Bollywood showing up, Asian up, Netflix and Amazon. There's no demand for the shit Hollywood's making. No one wants to watch it. And Snow White being the prime example. It is a massive flop. Do you know the numbers on that, Franklin? Have you heard the numbers?
No idea.
Close to half a flop. $500 million. Like literally, like $500 million is where they're at now. $500 million is kind of where they're at in the hole. Last week, Minecraft made $60 million and Snow White made $2 million. That should give you an idea. So,
well, they're seeing that with Nashville too, because Nashville has kind of become the new Los Angeles. That is where actors are moving. That's where, formerly LA music artists are moving, and it's going to be interesting having this massive, maybe one day the whole epicenter of entertainment be in Tennessee instead of California.
Or Texas or fucking Florida or someplace,
Yeah.
Nashville's got the problem in that it's purplish.
Oh, yeah.
So does Austin, Texas. Same issue. Florida, if you get south of Melbourne, just fucking write it off. And I write off South Florida with the genuine comfort of knowing that when the day comes, the Cubans, the Florida Cuban community will take care of South Florida. I'm not going to need to get involved. I remember what those guys did when the riots in Little Haiti were taking place down here in Florida. The Cubans, so they're segregated neighborhood-wise. There was Little Haiti, there's Little Havana, different parts of Miami. When Little Haiti started to riot and they were burning and looting and doing all this shit, the Cubans, there's a train track that separated the territory. And they would set up on those tracks, literally, barbecue grills, coolers, lawn chairs, the family, the whole fucking thing, and rifles. And they would just shoot in the Little Haiti at the Haitians as they were murking each other. Like, it was the most bizarre shit that you'd ever see in your life. Rooftop Cubans, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I don't know if I can get to it. Let me see if I can get to this. I did oh fuck no, I can't. It's not even on here. I had a graphic made several years ago, and I put it out. I'll post it again on Facebook for tomorrow for everybody to see. And it's kind of this Family Guy. What's his name? The dad of Family Guy. It's kind of like him, sort of. Cut off T-shirt, Trump tattoo. He's got a Korean flag, Korean emblem, flag, bandana tied around his head. There's empty beer cans and brass around his feet, and it just simply says, "We're all rooftop Koreans now." Because I figured that really pissed off lefties, I'm like hitting all those buttons, I touched all the buttons for them. Heart Trump tattoo. I was like, yeah, that needs to be there.
Well,
Peter Griffin, thank you, Johnny. Yes, Peter Griffin.
And I think hillbilly country is still that way too. We've got rooftop hillbillies because they show up in my books a lot.
Rooftop. No, you don't. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna say holler hillbillies because
Yeah.
there ain't no fucking rooftops to get on higher than a holler. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they get on top of the convenience store.
All right. I can't argue with that one. There's your argument there, man. Uh, rooftop hillbillies. That's a terrifying thought. So, what would that graphic look like? All right, rooftop hillbillies. We're gonna have what? Broken stems and glass pipes on the ground, and spent brass with fucking chore boy on the counter, or sitting up on the the parapet wall, or what?
And cheap beer cans.
What was that? What was that show? The Wild, Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Did you ever watch any of that?
Oh yeah, I'm a Jesco fan from
A
way
Jesco?
back.
All right. So I'll never forget. Like they use it in the kind of like the opening all the time, and it was this dude with a pill bottle, and he shakes it. He's like, you know what that is? He looks at the camera. He's like, that's the West Virginia mating call. And I was just like, holy shit. But Jesco is cool as fuck.
The funny story about Jesco, see, is that first Jesco White movie, Dancing Hillbilly, was filmed with a lot of government grants.
Yeah.
Because they thought, oh, well, this is going to be this great documentary about this dying Appalachian tradition. Well, when they screened it for the people who paid for it, they're like, the hell is this? You're glamorizing all the worst aspects of Appalachia. You know, we're not paying for this. And
oh, shit.
Yeah, it became a cult film after that.
It was, on one hand, entertaining to watch, and on the other hand, extremely sad to watch. Like, it really was.
Well, yeah, and see, that's the area that my mom is from. So, you know, when I go to family reunions, it's a lot like that.
It's a lot like that. It's a lot like this right here. PBR and pork rinds. Johnny Osprey.
Well, with a little blood spilled, and you know.
Well, there's going to be some bleeding.
Family shooting family usually. You know, they don't shoot strangers.
Well, no, that starts a feud. Now you got to be careful. You can kill Ken, but you can't kill Sean Durden. Hey, good to see you out there tonight, brother. Holler Billies. I love that. I'm going to call Stephanie Johnson tomorrow and call her a fucking holler Billy and see what she says to. I'm going to do it. I'm going to call her ass tomorrow and call her that. Franklin doesn't show up at Mountain Readiness with some rooftop hillbilly swag. After a while, I'm going to be disappointed. Oh, shit, Franklin.
I've got a rooftop hillbilly shirt on the website. You can buy it.
There you guys go. You can't be mad at Franklin. Yep. He's already got you covered. Let's see here. And that's Corey. Corey, like you, do you order? Do you have your shirts in kid sizes?
Gnome sizes.
No. Hey, you thought a Trump monkey was some shit. You remember the Trump monkey commercials from back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Those were good.
You reach in your pocket and throw a fucking battle gnome on the board. See what happens to you. So, yeah, the production, the video creation side is hard, but I'm legitimately trying to like, Florida used to have a robust film industry. But it went to shit years ago. And all they offer right now is a $50,000 grant. Like, if you want to film in Florida, they'll give you $50K, like, without hesitation. I'm trying to get them to follow the Georgia model. Let's bring that production out of Atlanta. Let's bring it down to the beautiful beaches and swamps of Florida and film that shit here.
Well, I was really excited about this probably 2 years ago. I had a lot of things going on. And then I had two good friends who spent a year having all these conference calls every week, put all kinds of work into polishing a script and doing changes and taking notes and all this. And both of them got the plug pulled at the end. And they just got a random call. One was Keith Blackmore, the guy who writes that Mountain Man zombie series, which is really good.
Yeah. Actually, I've read several of those. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So it was supposed to be a movie, and they just pulled the plug with no reason at the very end. The other was a post-apocalyptic author I know, and Todd McFarlane, the guy who did the Spawn movies, was going to do their books, and the same thing happened. It just kind of died away there with no reason. So I'm like, I don't want to put the energy into that. I'm going to concentrate on writing Mad Mick. I'm going to do Borrowed World. I'm going to have a good time.
I'll tell you why that happens. All right. Hollywood, and I learned this in my baptism of fire of dealing with Hollywood. And like, I spent, if you add it up, months out there. I'd rent the same Airbnb from the same guy every time I went. He's a great dude. Dealt with him. We got off Airbnb and we're doing side deals, which is great. But Hollywood's, it's not the savior that everyone thinks it is. Hollywood will buy IP to simply shelve it so it never sees the light of day. Like, that's legit. They will buy a property with zero intention of ever having it made to ensure it doesn't get made.
Yeah.
Like, they'll spend their money that way. So you gotta understand who we're dealing with here. When we say talking to Hollywood and shit, you gotta understand that they're not our friends, they're not our allies. They're hostile. It is a hostile deal.
Well, in the way I see it, life is short. I've got people who enjoy reading my books. I enjoy writing them. So let's just keep this little relationship going. You keep reading my books, I'll keep writing them for you, and we'll enjoy life.
That's what I've always said about mine. Like, people ask me how many books. I'm like, I really don't know, guys. I'm going to write them as long as you want to read them. When it's either I'm tired of writing them or you're tired of reading them, one of us will toss in the towel. But let's take a quick break. Russ, let's run. Let's get our Mountain Readiness and our Dalton up back to back. And I'll be right back, too. I got to make a head call, guys. I'm dying. But Mountain Readiness is coming. You guys need to be there. And there's free tickets available.
So as a reminder, folks, Mountain Readiness 2.0, 3.0, I believe it is, May 2nd through the 4th, 2025 in Harmony, North Carolina. Mr. Franklin Horton himself will be there along with Angery American. We've got a laundry list of folks, sponsored by Brush Beater. And as far as the Dalton is concerned, we are down to 5. Down to 5. So don't know if we're going to be making another run of those or making something else. Get a chance. Go ahead and grab one of those. We will have them at Mountain Readiness if they're not sold out by then. And last but not least, let's help our brother Donnie out. Donnie can't get right, needs your help. Chris talked about it a little earlier in the podcast. Let's make sure that we show some love. And now that Chris is back, I've got it all covered there, boss man. I'm out of here.
Thanks for that, man. My doctors are kind of pissed at me right now. My blood pressure is not doing well. I got a lot of shit going on, but look, every individual is different. So the standards and norms they come up with, there's people that don't fit. When I was 18 years old, I was pulled out of training by the Marine Corps because I had high blood pressure. At 18 fucking years old, it wasn't high blood pressure. When I was a firefighter, 4 or 5 years later, 2 years later, I would get pulled off of fires for high blood pressure because when we're working a big fire, the department I was on, our paramedics would come around and check us out. I'm like, dude, fuck off. I've got a hose. I don't need you here right now. No, pull your arm out of your jacket. We're going to check your blood pressure. So I believe I have abnormally high blood pressure compared to average people, but I don't think it's high for me because I'm still here. I'm 53 fucking years old. I have not had a heart attack. I don't plan on having one. So, but the doctors play games. And so they put me on new shit that makes me piss every 15 minutes. And so my eyes were crossed and I was seeing yellow there, Franklin. It was the only reason I had to do that. I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Hey, we don't hold it against you, man. This is...
Bro,
keeping it real.
That was rough. Hey, that's just the facts of life, and it is kind of humorous. So let me ask you a question real quick. Let's go off topic. Let's talk about some current goings on. What do you think about Trump's tariff deal on China? What do you think about that arrangement?
Well, the crazy thing about our country is people, they react to what's in front of them at the moment. They panic real easy. But, the example that I've used in my books and that I throw out at people all the time is in the area where I live. I guess when I was growing up, men could easily get jobs starting at about 17 years old in the coal mines. And their wives could get jobs working in these textile factories that we had around here, sewing factories.
Mills, in the mills. Yep,
So
in the
all
mills,
those sewing
absolutely,
factories have moved overseas now, and there's really no option here for employment for women that have, either dropped out of high school or have a high school degree that really allow them to get benefits and that they can stay there for 10, 20, 30 years if they want to. Those sewing factories were a big part of people's lives, and they were decent jobs, and they've all disappeared. And as painful as tariffs are, we've got to bring manufacturing back, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to suck, but we've got to try something.
So let me ask you this. What percentage of global manufacturing do you think China's responsible for? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I have actual numbers. I just want to hear your idea.
Shit, I have no idea. 70%?
Okay. Legit, fair idea, but it's actually just under 38. It's 28 and change.
Oh, I was close.
Do you know who the number 2 manufacturer in the world is? Us.
Really?
The United States. China is at 28 and change. I don't remember the decimal points. And the U.S. is at 16 and change. We are the second largest. But when you look at that, China's at 28 and change, almost 30. We're at 60. They're almost double what we are. And that's what you're talking about. That's those mills in North and South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia that closed down, the coal mines in the Carolinas and the Virginias that were closed down, which Trump has opened back up. Coal mining is returning to the country. This whole, I'm a fan of coal. I have no beef with coal because, number one, I worked on the world's largest surface coal mine, NARM, North Antelope Rochelle Mine in Wyoming. I worked on that sumbitch, and I built 3 train loadouts there that would load trains, and all those trains were going to China at the time. They had bought every bit of coal coming out of that mine. Now, the coal coming out of that mine was dirty as shit. Like we joked calling it dirt that burned, but it looked like dirt. It's not like the coal you get out of your region of West Virginia, places like that. That's what anthracite coal, I think they call it. That shit, when you pick it up, it's shiny. You're like, it looks like
and
something.
they also have all those plants here to make it into coke, so the steel mills can use
right.
it. Yeah.
So we're seeing a resurgence in domestic manufacturing. Hopefully, we are seeing it in the chip world. But hopefully, some manufacturing will come back with the resurgence of coal-backed power. Because when you look at the EU and any fucking body else, the EU especially, they're doing their best to kill themselves off. I mean, I don't know why they don't just go ahead and raise the Islamic flag and put their hands up and walk out to Poland, maybe, because Poland will never go with that shit. But the rest of the EU are a bunch of cucks, and that's how I'll refer to them, because they are. I put something on Twitter today about they're the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer. When someone asked him about the definition of a woman and a man, a female woman, and he said, and they gave him the definition, the actual correct definition. And he's like, I don't think that should ever be said. That should never be said. That says, so I'm with President Trump, and fuck Europe. Really fuck Europe. If it wasn't for the United States, Europe would be speaking German right now. And they have forgot what we've done for them. And they're starting to talk about hostile action. They're looking at the United States as a hostile actor. And you guys could do that, because if we wanted it, we could take Europe. Like we could. If we wanted Canada, we could fucking take Canada.
Like you said, if we wanted it.
If we wanted to. Greenland, it's already ours. Exo pacto, defecto kind of. We're fucking already there. Our military bases are there. And we're the only fucking military on the island. So it belongs to us. But it's just interesting. I don't know if you keep track of this stuff, but like the impact on China with what Trump is doing is so massively profound to the Chinese that Americans don't realize it yet. Because to us at home here, nothing's changed yet. right, Franklin? You go grocery shopping or go to the store, you do shit. I mean, I don't do none of that shit, but Mel does it and I hear about it. But to the average American, we're not seeing it yet. Walmart's prices are going to start going up, folks. Plan on that. I don't shop at fucking Walmart. Walmart can suck a nut. I'm not a fan of their company. But the prices are going to start going up because anything that was not already in the U.S., like cleared customs, that 245% maximum tariff applies to some things, but not everything's in that big a tariff. And a lot of people don't realize that. But what it did is it slammed the emergency brake onto the Chinese economy, which was already in very, very bad shape. People don't realize the financial condition China was in before this happened. 30% of Chinese GDP came from the real estate market. The real estate market started to crash 2 years ago, and it is a pyre of flames now. 30% of China's GDP is from their export industries. We just stopped that entirely. The United States consumes 40% of all goods on the surface of this rock. You guys need to think about that. This nation alone, we take up 40% of the resources of this entire planet. So when we shut China out, we broke them. They're broken right now. The fallout's coming. You know, they're dumping T-bills. They're dumping treasury bonds. That's their retaliatory act because they know Trump needs to sell about $7 billion of bonds in May to keep shit afloat. So they're dumping T-bills cheap. They're dumping our treasuries. And we are in a financial, and folks need to understand this, we are in a financial conflict. This is a stage of active warfare. Right now it's financial. That's where we're at. But China is in a world of shit.
Well, they're also facing this manpower crunch that with their aging population because of this one family, one child act, they don't have enough younger people to support the aging population. So that has put this additional financial strain on China that's really going to cause them problems in the next 5 to 15 years.
Oh, no, they're already there, but that's it. Media, our media in particular, does not cover China well. And what most people probably hear incidentally about China is Chinese propaganda. The propaganda is fucked up. The manpower crunch they're facing, part of the reason, Franklin, is the vid. I caught some numbers coming from an official Chinese channel yesterday that said 770 million Chinese people have federal IDs. Now, you cannot purchase anything, travel anywhere, have a job, do any fucking thing in China without a federal ID. So China just said there's 770 million, but that's it. Now, I watch China extremely closely. I watch a lot of videos coming out of China and about China because everybody thinks Russia's our threat. Russia is absolutely 100% zero threat to the United States. They're not a threat to us. And we'll get back to Russia in just a minute because I want to get your opinion, Franklin. But China is a huge threat to us. China negotiated with the World Trade Organization for 15 fucking years, guys, before they were ever allowed in. Once they were allowed in, they broke every covenant of the deal, and they have done so in perpetuity the entire time. Trump is right about what they've done to us. But when he slapped them tariffs on them, the ports stopped working, which is a massive part of their GDP. And then he imposed a $1.5 million port call fee on any ship manufactured in China, irregardless of the flag it sails under. So if Finland bought ships from China, when they come to the U.S., they get a $1.5 million port call fee. We run about a $300 billion deficit in trade with China every year. In other words, they're sending us more shit than we're sending them. So I'm not a super Trumper. You guys have got to understand that. I'm still on the fence. I mean, I like a lot of the shit he's doing. Some of the stuff I don't. This China thing, though, he is going to kick China back down the road about 30 years, about 3 fucking decades, guys. China will cease to be the economic problem it is. But in that process, we got to be real fucking careful because they own nukes. They have nukes. So we got to be careful. But I think it's going to be good in the long run because I don't know if you experienced it, Franklin, but I did. Several years ago, there were books coming out on Amazon that were essentially going home, but fucked up. And so what we found out is it was Chinese dudes, companies, call it what you want. We're taking our books, feeding them into an AI, and having them spit out something else. But it's so closely aligned. And it took a great deal of effort from myself and numerous other authors this was happening to at that time, because this was kind of a thing that just happened. Like, baseline is baseline, but then there's this fucking spike of this counterfeit shit of everybody's work. And it took us a great deal of effort. And there are guys still dealing with it today, not in the author space, but in other spaces. And sadly, these tariffs, which I hate that we had to go that route because they're hurting friends of mine. Like, I've got genuine friends that are going to be put out of business, not be able to get product anymore because they use Chinese manufacturing. And not all Chinese manufacturing is shit, guys, but most of it is. But it's hurting these friends of mine, like dudes I love.
Oh, yeah. Brothers. If you're in a business where you need prototypes, a lot of people use China because that's the most economical way to produce a prototype of anything.
The problem is, when you do that, you've just given them the prototype and they will replicate it. So China just removed their laws against IP theft. So in other words, any company in China in possession of trade secrets, whatever they are now free will to use them as they please. They reached out to the EU, tried to dump a bunch of product on them. The EU said no. Russia only did a year in business with China, so and their economy is so fucked. Russians in Ukraine, when they raid villages, will steal washing machines and toilets. Like, they have a fascination with those two household appliances. A fucking flushing toilet and a goddamn washing machine. They will steal them from every house they go into and try to take them home. Like, they put them on their BTRs, they'll put them on top of their armored vehicles. You don't see those videos so much nowadays, but in the beginning, it was fucking hilarious. You see a BTR going down the road with 12 fucking washing machines strapped to the top of it because they just raided a Ukrainian city where everybody had washing machines, but nobody in Russia does. Do the math, So you're going to be at Mountain Readiness, right, Franklin?
Absolutely. I missed the first year, and you guys all told me about what a good time you'd had, and I felt like I had skipped the family reunion that year. So, I have made up for it since then.
That is a classic way to refer to it because, you've done several of these kind of events. I've done a shitload of them. And in 90% of those events I attended, the promoter making money was the number one goal. At Mountain Readiness, the promoter making money is the goal. I want T to make money. Before they ever launched Mountain Readiness, Amber reached out to me and asked if I would help. I was like, I'll do any fucking thing I can. Whatever. You want me to promote it? And we attended the first one. I will be at every one. Mel won't make the next one. She's recovering from surgery, guys. She will not be there. That's 100%. She won't make it. So you guys are going to miss Mel. I know. Half you fucking come to see her. I get it. But you'll have to come to see me and Franklin this time. And we'll have our good buddy Pete Robertucci over there. I don't know if any other authors are coming. I had to cut one out. There was one that wanted in, but he had to be cut off because he did our buddy Pete Robertucci dirt during the last event. Yeah. And when I see you, Franklin, I'll tell you what happened. But I brought this guy into our community. And then he proceeded to fuck over a member of our community. And so I, stopped communicating with him. I'm not going to say I kicked him out. He still talks to other people, but I don't communicate with him any further at all. And the problem is he was a nice guy. I really liked him. I actually genuinely did until he did what he did to one of my boys. And if you fuck him, you're fucking me. And I'm not going to stand for that. First time, shame on me. Second time, shame on you. I don't give most people a second chance, and there will not be a fucking third. Brian Duff. All right. So Brian Duff's going to be there too, guys. So you'll have me, Franklin, Pete Robertucci, and Brian Duff as far as writers of the gibberish. We'll all be up there at the Angery House. You guys know where it's at. I'll be there. When are you coming in, Franklin? When are you going to get to Harmony?
I think Thursday, maybe.
All right. Paul Christopher in the house. Guys, I'm going to give a huge shout out to this dude right here. Paul Christopher. Do you know Paul, Franklin?
Absolutely.
All right. That you don't know. Like, I love Paul and his wife. They are amazing Americans. They are amazing patriots.
Good people.
Like their entire life is sacrifice and selfless service. Paul works at the fire department. Becky's a paramedic. They run a survival company. They stood up in South Carolina, in North Carolina after Helene. Scanned for lost ways for that. Russ, do we have come hollers or hell or high water repair and hollers from Stephanie Johnson? If we have that, I'd like to put it up. If we don't, we need to get it made so we can run it every fucking ad. If you guys don't know Stephanie Johnson, Franklin, I know you do.
Oh,
you and I met her on the same day, dude.
Yes, we did. That's a story in itself.
Well, let's just go. We've told it before, but let's go ahead and tell it again. So I'm signed up to Mountain Readiness. I'd already been there the year prior. I'm returning. And they put me on a driveway. There's 2 metal buildings, but I'm on a fucking driveway. And I got my tent up and I set up my shit. Franklin shows up and sits up right fucking beside me. And me and him got to talking, immediate friends, loved him to death. As I tell everybody.
See, we had actually met once before that, right? At dinner when you bought your truck.
Yeah. You guys, we had met then. But Franklin sits up beside me, and across this driveway sets up this crazy-ass redheaded gal who had this big diorama, 3D model of a community set up. And me and Franklin are sitting over there listening to her talk like she's a firecracker. She's got more energy to talk to people and do things than anyone I've ever met. Miss Stephanie Johnson, Mountain Fabulous. # Mountain Fabulous. But me and Franklin are sitting over there. And finally, we were talking about. You remember we were talking about like this chick is like on fire. Like look at her go. And
doesn't know a stranger, you know.
No, she's never met one. That wouldn't know one if she did. She walks over to me and Franklin, and she's standing kind of half in between our tents, probably more to your side. And she's like, everybody's buying your books, and she pointed at me. She's like, so I'm gonna buy his books to start with. I'm like, fucking yeah. I'm like, get him. I'm like, absolutely, because I don't feel competition against other authors in this space. I genuinely don't. If you're writing in this space, to me, you're a brother. I'm not competing with you. You're doing and especially you of all people. And Steve Bird, even though that fucker has dropped off the goddamn map, I still love him too. I called him. I talked to him recently. I actually asked him if his company would do a angel flight for a donor recipient. But all his birds were in the hangars at the time, and we couldn't do it. But I did reach out to him and ask him. Me and him talk for the first time in quite some time.
Well, that's good.
But me and Franklin met Stephanie at the exact same moment, and she bought his books first, and I don't give a shit. More power to him. But like by the end of the day, we were all friends. Like Stephanie and Franklin and me, we were a tight little group in Waynesville. There for a couple of years.
And since that time, we have hung out at other events, and you and I have sold books at, at least from, Louisiana to
fuck Louisiana. Stay there. My camera will be back. I pulled my computer off.
Yeah, that kind of sums up Louisiana right there.
Yeah, my headphones are unplugged. Hang on. You guys only knew the goddamn rattle trap shit that I'm working with in here and how I have it set up, you'd be amazed.
It's hard to get good help.
I just got on the camera. Hey, y'all. Hi. Oh, dropped it again. Nope. That's too short. We're going to put that up here. I'm going to try to stop this from happening. I really am, guys, but that's just the way shit goes in my world. This computer will sit up. There it is. Now it's sitting. Now I'm going to get the camera back. Turn over here, motherfucker. Oh. There we go. It's supposed to follow me. Let's see if it does. It don't. But no, like that mountain readiness, bro, where I met you, and that's where I became friends with Stephanie too. That time is very special to me. That moment in time. That was because it was early in this genre. You came in early too, just like I did. I came in pretty early. You had to go back to William John Stone Out of the Ashes series to find stuff like what Franklin and I were doing. And Franklin showed up, and I was immediately 100% on board with Franklin. I tell everybody in the world he's my favorite hillbilly, and I mean it when I say it.
Well, and I appreciate you, man, because the only other post-apocalyptic author there was Bill Forstchen, and he's not exactly our crowd. He doesn't hang out with us and drink.
I'm gonna say this about Bill. I love Bill. Hang on a minute. My headphones aren't working. Let's see if they come up now. Yeah, fucking imagine that. I love Bill, but Franklin, did you know that Bill wrote 1 second after, and then he wrote Day of Wrath, and then he started writing romance novels? Did you know?
That doesn't surprise me. But another of my favorite Stephanie stories is her going up to Bill Forstchen and pointing at me and saying, "That's my favorite author."
That's fantastic, bro.
That's Stephanie for you.
That's Stephanie. I remember being on I think me, you, and Bill were on an authors panel one time up there, and I remember that being a lot of fun with the great Bill Forstchen. And I love Bill. He's a good dude, guys. Don't get me wrong. Buy his books, read them.
Yeah.
He's
just more well behaved than we are.
Way more well behaved than you and I are. Gonzales, Louisiana, anybody?
That's not Bill Forstchen country right there.
No, that's Todd country. You remember Todd?
Oh yeah.
He lives in Tennessee now. He still has his place in Austin, but he bought a joint in Tennessee, and he's up there now. His wife is in Austin. She's still working because she's still got to work. But Todd said, "Fuck it," he's in Tennessee and he's got a big place, and I'm going to try to visit him here soon.
See, Chris and I have this problem that when we go places and we get in these boisterous conversations, people start asking to be moved to other tables farther away. And Louisiana was a good example of that. We kind of cleared a space around us.
We did have a bit of a force field around ourselves there. Roos Chris in Jacksonville wasn't any different.
Yeah, and we had Kevin Pierce was with us, providing adult supervision.
For what it was worth.
Yeah, and we still didn't know how to act.
We fuck no. So Franklin and I think I turned you onto it. Like a guy called me and said, "Hey, I'm doing like a survival prepper show in Gonzales, Louisiana.
Yes.
Would you like to come, as an author?" I'm like, "Yes, I know a couple other guys that might. I got you to come. I got somebody else to come too. I can't remember who else came.
Johnny Jacks came.
Yes, Johnny Jacks was there. That's who. Johnny Jacks. Goddamn. I ain't talked to him in forever. I need to. Is he still here with us? I don't mean to be a dick.
I think he's has health issues. He's mid-80s.
Yeah, he was a McVie Sod guy, folks. But Johnny was cool as fuck. And the show in Gonzales was a shit show. But the real fun was after the show. It was me, Franklin, and my buddy Todd. It was me and Franklin just trying to wrangle Todd in the goddamn bar. That's what it was. I don't know how many fights he almost started in that bar, but it was everything Franklin and I could do. And the staff gave up. The staff just fucking gave up. Let me and Franklin wrangle him.
Yeah, you would distract him, and I poured his drinks out in a plant.
Yeah, I'd get Todd to talk to me, and fucking Franklin would reach over, grab his drink, and pour that shit out, and set his empty glass in front of him. I can't imagine how many drinks he paid for that he never drank that night. Well, it wasn't that night. It was several nights.
Should have been a lesson for him.
Should have been, but it wasn't at the time. It wasn't at the time.
Uh-oh, I see that Stephanie has joined us in the chat there.
Where is she? Rebuilding hollers. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm putting that back up. There she is. Miss Stephanie Johnson herself, guys. Rebuilding hollers. Look that up. Please donate to those folks. And Miss Stephanie right here, who snuck in trying to be all covert and shit, we caught you anyway, has done amazing things for the state of North Carolina. She is of North Carolina, born and bred, and the mountains are her home. And what happened to her mountains was a travesty. And if we can help her raise money to do the things she's doing to support her community, she's putting people in housing. She's taking care of basic needs, like what Stephanie's doing. And there was no compunction on her to do it. After the hurricane died down, Stephanie looked at her pantry and said, I got extra this, and somebody might be able to use it. And they cut their way out of their driveway down the mountain because, y'all, they do live on the side of a fucking mountain. She said she lives in the holler. She ain't joking. So her and Tyler had to cut their way down the mountain, and she went down to Rose's parking lot and just set up with what little bit of shit she pulled out of her pantry. And that turned into a massive operation, as some of you may remember, with some curious incidences intermixed. And I'm still getting death threats from those fuckers about that. But let them send them. I don't give a shit. And this is Stephanie, real talking smack. That's Stephanie. We need to come and play some bones. Franklin, you play fucking dominoes?
I don't play any games, man. I drink and provide moral support.
Look, we're not going to be able to get into dominoes at Mountain Readiness because that's just not the right venue. We will do some drinking and some moral supporting. But we need to get together and play some dominoes one time. Actually, what I would love, and Stephanie, you can give us a thumbs up on this. I would love for Franklin to come over to your place and me and Mel to come up, and for us 5 to sit in your kitchen and play dominoes together, because that is, in my mind, the only way to play dominoes. So I'm telling you, Stephanie, I'll be there. You just got to whip his ass to get
Stephanie's only about an hour and a half from me, if that far.
I know she's close. Yeah, I know she's close. We love her to death. Her and Tyler both. Like her husband. A lot of people don't know Tyler. He is hands down one of the funniest sons of bitches I've ever met in my life. Like he cracks me up. Like just he should be doing stand up. He should not be doing what he does, which is kind of construction property management. He's a very handy guy. Get a lot of shit done. If you need something done, you call Tyler. But I fucking love him. His humor. And just like he could do stand up. He is so goddamn funny. He is. Look, all right. Here it is, Franklin. She agreed. Like we got to make this happen
Sign
this
me
year,
up.
and we got to shoot a live. Your channel, my channel, doing it at the same time from the mountain fabulous estate on the side of a hill in North Carolina. And I do mean that motherfucker is on the side of the hill. But Franklin, you have to ask her about the murder room. I'm not going to tell you about it. But you need to let her tell you about it. There is a murder room at
she's going to be at Mountain
Just
Readiness, so we'll.
I can't wait to see her. And you. It's been a while since I've even seen your ass.
Fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in hibernation since then.
Yeah, Stephanie says you can't do stand up because all his jokes are about her. Well, Steph, you do have a point. I'm just saying, but maybe every now and then you look around and be like, maybe it's me. Just saying. We played Mexican. Yeah, see, everybody like dominoes. They love that shit. So, what do you got coming up, Franklin? Other than Mountain Readiness, which we ran the promo for, guys. First weekend in March. Harmony, North Carolina, at the Van Hoy Family Campground. I'll be there. Franklin will be there. Mr. Pete Rapatucci, another author, will be there. And, of course, Alan Kay, Tactical Rifleman, and the infamous T himself, Mr. Bob Toombs, will be there. Paul Christopher. So look forward to seeing you, everyone. All right. He's going to be there. Mr. Paul Christopher, a dear friend of mine, and a not a friend, but an asset to the state of North Carolina, will be there as well.
Yeah, it's really hard
so you guys
to describe these events to people that have never come because, you know, you may be sitting at home thinking, well, I don't know anybody that's going to be there. But, you know, it's people that you feel like you've known for years. I mean, those are such family-oriented events, and you come out of there with friends, you know, that you will know for years. It's really good people and a good time.
It really is. And I've attended a shitload of events across this country. I've attended a few bad ones. I've attended some good ones. But I'm going to say Mountain Readiness has an entirely different feel to it, guys. It's yes, it's a for-profit enterprise. They're doing this to make money. They're not doing this as goddamn charity. But the feel is different. The vibe is different. You know, during the day, there's vendors and classes. Well, at night is where the magic happens. That's where we get to sit around the fire all together. And Franklin, we just put our firewood order because the burn ban has been lifted in North Carolina. We will have fires in the
Excellent
camp. Yes, and there will be copious amounts of alcohol and bullshit spread amongst
I will
everybody.
do my best to contribute to the spread of bullshit.
And the drinking, motherfucker. You're going to be right there with me. If I got to do it, you got to do it. So it's just a different event, you know. This is one that I've been involved with since its inception, only because the awesome Magistrate Amber Toombs contacted me. But what T puts on is a lot of work. He works his ass off, and so does Amber. But T really works his ass off. Them tents ain't easy, y'all. I'll tell you that. Them tents ain't easy to put up. And I just want T to be successful, make money in this endeavor, bringing our community, giving us a place to gather with no judgment of outside influences at all. Like our community, we can get together. You guys come to Mountain Readiness. You will see Franklin. You will see Pete. McDutter Butter is going to be there. Carl Erickson, Tactical Rifleman is going to be there. The always fabulous Emery Morgenstern will be there. The first person I talked to in Mountain Readiness was Angery. I had barely backed in the camper, and him and the wizard behind the computer, Russ, pulled up. Didn't know a soul there. I remember that, Mike. And Russ, I'm a huge shout out to Mr. Russ in the background for always doing what he does. He is the unsung hero of mine and others' podcasts. And so I want to give Russ a big shout out. We're ordering merch tomorrow. Russ is ordering extra merch. We're going to make sure we have plenty of goodies for everybody at Mountain Readiness. Franklin, you bringing goodies?
Absolutely, man. I've been in production mode. I've got stuff piled up. I'm going to be ready.
Nice. And I highly recommend you get some of his stuff, y'all. You know, we just want to see you come out. And look, if you buy the day passes or the week pass, you know, the whole event pass, whatever, like when things start winding down in the afternoon, even if you've only bought a day pass, don't go home. Don't leave. Hang out. Because as soon as the end of show time arrives, when that time hits, like we're all packing our shit and we're all heading for the camp. And last year we ended up having 3 fire pits down in Angerland. We had 3 fire pits people were gathered around. Different groups, all talking different things, but essentially all talking the same thing. And that's where the real magic of this shit happens, right, Franklin? It's the after hours.
Absolutely, because you know, even during the day, these events are pretty casual. This is not like something where you're being rushed through and then pushed on to the next thing. You know, you come get a book from me or Chris, or buy something, or just even hang out. You know, you can hang out there for an hour and talk. This is a chance to catch up and meet and socialize. And the evenings are that, without the structure of all the events going on. So you can stay and talk all evening.
And the lubrication of copious amounts of alcohol and damn good food. Mama T, Miss Teresa, Russ's illustrious wife, the backbone of the Sawyer operation. I know Russ, but you know. And she really is. She will probably make shrimp and grits one night. And guys, like that's a privilege if you get to taste those. Because I've eaten shrimp and grits across this country. And there are zero in restaurants that I would put above hers. And it's a Mountain Readiness tradition. We're going to do shrimp and grits. It's going to happen. As well as we're going to cook. We have an open bar down at my camp. As you guys know, if you register for Mountain Readiness, there's a whole section of the campground labeled Angery Land. That's for all the misfits and degenerates to come hang out. Because we keep the fires going late. We like to stay up and talk and bullshit and enjoy each other and have fun. Franklin's going to be there. I can't wait to see you. And T, fucking Alan, Emery. I hope Emery's going to make it if he don't get recalled. Carl Erickson, Tactical Rifleman will be there. We're going to have a great, and many others, guys. Like, I'm not even mentioning 10% of the folks who are going to be there. I'm just mentioning my close boys. There's plenty of others. Yeah, Angery Land, the Island of Misfit Toys. Well, the Misfit Toy ain't coming with me, but it'll still be me. She's going to be here recovering. But I'm looking forward to seeing you. So, what do you got on deck immediately, Franklin, that we need to have folks looking at? What do you got coming up that you want people to know about?
Well, I just released the last book in the Way of Dan series. That came out a couple of weeks ago, and that's the end of that series. So I'm writing the Borrowed World now. This is going to be the 12th book. It's the 10th anniversary of the Borrowed World. First one came out in 2015. So Borrowed World, then Mad Mick. But other than Mountain Readiness, I don't have any events planned for the next little bit.
Do you do any events at all other than Mountain Readiness?
I didn't last year. I do like some small one-day things, couple hour things. But no preparedness events other than Mountain Readiness.
Well, I love your support for Mountain Readiness because that's not my event. That's T's event. But I look at it as kind of like my event. If you want to come hang out with us, by us, I mean fucking Franklin, I mean Russ, I mean T, I mean fucking Battle Gnome. I mean, there's so many people I could name in this shit. This is where you come. You'll get to meet these people face to face and have real world conversations where you ain't got to try to hide who you are. You don't need to mind your tongue. You don't need to watch your P's and Q's. We don't give a shit. Just come out, hang out, have a good time. Be a positive influence on the rest of the group, and we're happy to have you. If you come in and you're a dickhead, well, we're going to tell you pretty quick you're a dickhead, and we're going to kick you the fuck out. And if you guys know Shane, the Mountain Readiness cook, he is responsible for evictions. He'll be the one to remove you from property. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the premier sponsor for Mountain Readiness 2025, Brush Beater, Mr. Matt himself. Guys, if I'm gonna give you a public service announcement right now. If you are in the market for night vision or thermals or any sort of glass, be it 0 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 8, red dot, what the fuck ever. If you're in the market for optics, you better buy it right goddamn now because it ain't gonna get cheaper tomorrow. With the tariffs in China, everything is going to go up. The optics market is going to dry up. There's a real chance that it will put personal friends of mine, people that I genuinely care about, completely out of business. I'm hoping it don't last that long. China's imploding as we speak. There's a real chance that the CCP will lose control of China. And something else will come out of the other side. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. And we don't know what's going to happen. But it's putting a real hurt on guys in our community, especially guys that cater to things like load-bearing gear or optics. A lot of that stuff is manufactured in China to very high standards, but it's manufactured in China. And those deals are off the table now. Those guys cannot resupply. So whatever inventory they happen to have on the shelf is what they have. So if you follow Brush Beater, Umbris Design, I could list a bunch of them. I would jump in and buy whatever you need to buy right fucking now. And it may be more than it was 2 weeks ago, but it's going to be less than it'll be in a month. A hell of a lot less. So buy it now. Franklin, where can everybody find you at? Like your schedule of appearances, which I know you don't make, but.
Well, if I did, they would be on my website. FranklinHorton.com is my book website. I have a merch website too, which is resetroadhouse.com, named after the Reset Roadhouse in the Borrowed World. So those are the two places, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So
yeah. Well, guys, if you're not following Franklin, you're wrong. And I put this up Miss Howard, for NC Brush Beater has some cool toys. He has a physical store, guys. Um, Franklin, do you know Matt? Have you met
I
him
was
yet?
just thinking, I don't know if we have met.
I think you may have in passing, but you don't know you have. But I'm going to make sure to do a formal introduction
Yeah,
between
we
you
might have
two.
met and just not hung out.
Yeah. He's a brother of mine. Like, if Matt called me today and said, I need lawyers, guns, and money, I'm like, well, I'm bringing the guns and money. What else can I'm coming. I don't give a fuck why. If he was to call me tomorrow and say the ATF surrounded his house, I'm on my way, but I'm going to stay a few hundred meters out and make their job difficult. There's few people in this world that I say that for. NC Scout will be there all weekend. Yeah, he'll be there all weekend, guys. I met him several years ago through an intermediary friend who was like, the two of you really need to meet. And we did in a private location where there's some weirdness going on. But as soon as I was introduced to him, I was like, I see you. Just like you, Franklin. Like Alan Kay. Like when I saw Franklin sit up beside me, I was just like, I got this guy. I see him. I know who you are. Alan Kay was the same way. That's the closest fucking human other than Mel and Mom. Sorry, kids, but Alan's closer to me than even my kids. They're far away and they're all gone now, and I never hear from them. But I talk to Alan every couple of days, and I would do anything in the world for those men. And Franklin, you're one of those guys. Like, if you ever set up the flare saying, "Hey, I need help, bro," I'm coming. It may not be the help you want, but you're gonna get some. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get some.
Well, I'm glad to hear that Alan's going to be there too, because I don't think I've seen him in a couple of years.
We've got a huge announcements, guys, at Mountain Readiness for Alan Kay. As some of you may know, if you're following him online, if you're not following Alan on Facebook, you should be. We've got a rather huge announcement coming about kukri knives. Alan did the pilgrimage to Nepal. He sat with the knife makers. Not only he did so much more than sit with the knife makers. I don't want to say what he did because I don't want to spoil some of the shit that's coming out. But what he did for those people in Nepal was monumental. What came out of it was fucking incredible. Like, I don't even have it in my possession yet, but I'm waiting on one. There's going to be a huge announcement at Mountain Readiness about this. So you're going to want to be there, especially if you want one. And if you've got if you've got two brain cells, you figured out what I'm talking about. You're going to want to be there and buy one because it's going to be a limited opportunity and it's going to be something you want. And there's a very slim chance. I'm going to stick this out. So, Franklin, you remember Alan? Alan and I did season 1 of Alone. You remember that? Yes. We were both on it. Remember he won?
Yes.
I obviously did not. What do you think? Well, I told him. I told him, bro, you'll win this show. I knew you would. I told him day one. He'll still say I didn't know that, but fuck, I did. Fuck him. I knew. And I love him like a brother, but I knew he'd win because the motherfuckers got to quit. They're hitting a shred of quit, and Alan Kay, and that motherfucker's my brother.
Well, the thing that people don't realize is you guys went into that not knowing what was going to happen. People have seen seasons of the show now. They know how to plan and strategize for it. You guys didn't know shit.
We were at the whaling station in Vancouver. Like, we launched out of this old whaling. This thing was like 100 years old, and whales had been drug into this thing and butchered. And like, we're standing in this massive structure. It's all wood, and we're looking around like, holy shit! Like, just taking in the severity of the presence we actually stood in. Like, a few of us were. Most of them weren't. Me and Alan, we certainly were. We're like, holy shit, dude! Look around. Like, look at what's here. Looking at some of the old tools hung on the walls still and shit. Like, holy fuck! Like, imagine that thing. Like, they stuck that in a hunk of whale and they drug it across the floor. Like, we were talking about that shit. There was no competition between he or I or any of the participants of season 1, with the exception of one person I'm not going to mention. And fuck that guy. You know who you are, Mitch. Just saying. But there was no sense of competition. This is a brotherhood. We all entered it with the same feeling for each other, even. Not I hope this fucker taps out quick. I hope this guy loses. None of us did that. Season 2 and any subsequent season from season 1 will never be the same as season 1 because we didn't know there's a $500,000 prize involved. We did not know that until we're standing in the whaling station, like the helicopters landing and the boats are landing and the seaplanes are coming in to put everybody out. That's when they told us. That's when we knew. Like leading up to that, we had no fucking idea. We had shared information freely amongst each other. Like who's planning what are you doing for this? What are you thinking for that? Like we would sit around and talk at night. And me and Alan made a couple of fast friends there. Guys that we still talk to today, you know, Sam being one who was the last guy out in front of Alan, and then Mr. Lucas, Minnesota Miller, as we call him, Lucas Miller, dear friends of ours. Still to this day, we still talk to those guys. So it was an incredible thing. And I've got a friend getting ready to go on a survival show right now, and so I'm reviewing their contract and trying to make sure they don't get screwed. But that's all I'm doing for them. And I hope they do well, but more power to them. So, Franklin, what do you want to leave folks with tonight? We've gone a little bit long. I know we're over. I'm going to get us out of here so you go to bed, do whatever the hell you need to do because you obviously wake up work early and fucking write or some horse shit you lie about.
Yeah, I keep vampire hours or something. I think that if you're on the fence about coming to an event like this, I would just encourage you to try to fit it in your schedule and see if you can come because these events are really next level. Reading these books is one thing. And of course, I'm going to always tell you to read mine and Chris's books, but coming to these events makes it real in a way that the books don't do. It introduces you to a community. And if you don't have a community, you can find it at these events.
And that is the key. Like you just hit the fucking nail on the head, Franklin. Community. We all, fuckers, I'm zooming in because I'm getting serious for a minute. I'm going to adjust some shit. Hang on. Come on, get over there. Franklin's used to this, so he's all right. Guys, Franklin just used the word community. And I don't think enough of us understand the weight of such a word. And we don't mean community as in we are a member of the everyday community of people that we abide by the civil contracts that most of us abide by and we live our lives. When we mean community, we mean the inner circle kind of community. The people who think like we do, the people who believe like we do, the people who have the same worries that we have. This is a place that you can come to and lay all that shit on the table. Every bit of it. And everybody you'll find is going to agree with you that they're just as goddamn scared and just as uncertain as you are. But Mountain Readiness is the place to come. And I've attended and still attend numerous events across the country. But Mountain Readiness is different. It just feels like home. And that's because of Bob Toombs, Miss Amber Toombs, and all of what do they call them? Shit, the vendors that show up. We're all of a like mind. We're all there looking out for one another. We're all there to help each other, and a rising tide lifts all ships. That is essentially the motto of Mountain Readiness. In that, when the tide comes up, all the boats float, not just one. If someone's missing, we need to redirect our effort and point to them. Which is exactly why, guys, I've got Franklin on here. I love Franklin. He's like my favorite hillbilly in the world. I've always said that. I always will say that. And you can put that on a shirt, Franklin. My favorite hillbilly in the world, Angery American. And I'll be like, yep, fucking do it. I dare you.
I will do it.
Like, he legitimately is my favorite hillbilly. And he's really not a hillbilly, but that motherfucker's hillbilly as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's hillbilly as hell. And I mean that shit because I hope Franklin does like beyond his imagination well in his literary endeavors. I will always post him. You got to tell me, dude, because I just can't keep track no more. I've got so much showing going on. But if you'll tell me, hey, I'm releasing a new one, I'm going to pimp it for you.
I'll do that.
I always will. You know that. I always will. I'm trying to write more, guys, but, you know, as I said, life gets in the way, and I'm trying to help a whole fucking bunch of people out. You know, the business I'm starting will help out in total about 18 people, believe it or not. Like that's what we're kind of lifting up. We're doing that out of my pocket and a dear friend of mine's pocket. His was deeper than mine, and he jumped in as soon as I explained the situation to him and what I wanted to do. The guy didn't hesitate. He was in fucking immediately. And I can't say anything greater about a man than that. If Franklin called and needed my help, I would ask a lot of questions, like what caliber do I need to bring, or do we need body bags? Like, what do you need? Like, I'm on my way. I don't give a fuck. I'm coming to help you, Franklin. Fuck them. We'll put them in a hole. I don't give a shit.
I've got digging machines too. We can put them deep.
Look, I got a pre-dug one on my gun range. Like, I'm just saying, we can put them real deep. And the secret of that, Franklin, is you put them deep. You fill it about halfway, then you throw a dog in there, and then you finish it off. Because they'll dig down, they'll find that dog, and they'll stop digging. I'm just telling you, that's like this is the tip from a. I'm not gonna say a pro, but I'm just saying that's a tip. Just saying.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me on here. It's always good hanging out, and this is just the warm up for 2 or 3 weeks from now when we'll be doing this in person.
I can't wait to have Franklin, Pete, Russ. Russ is in the background, guys. Please give Russ some love. Russ, throw your logo up. I want everybody to see your logo real quick. Broken Spokes is Russ's logo. He has become quite the in the background producer over the days. Come on, Russ. I know it's there. Hurry up. I'll put you on the spot. But he does so much for me. He does so much for Pete. He does so much for a lot of folks in what they're doing that you guys got to know that Russ is like he's legit putting the work in the background, guys. And Franklin, the same goes to you. If there is any fucking thing, still I'm waiting on Broken Spokes, Russ. I'm not going to let you go on that. You got to put it up. If there's anything I can ever do for you, or we can ever do for you, or the community could ever do, please don't hesitate to let me know so I can share that shit and I encourage people. There it is. Broken Spokes Production right there, folks. That is Mr. Russ Sawyer himself and Mrs. T. Don't think he does it alone because he don't. As much as he'll tell you he does. Yeah, I'm telling you on your Russ. He took that away quick, didn't he? But I love those two people like more than I can say. He's closer to me than a brother. And that means a lot. It means a whole lot. So Franklin, you got anything else you want to leave folks with tonight? Last thoughts, warnings, threats? What do you got? Come on.
Well, just try to enjoy your lives. It's easy to get buried in news, and I try to limit myself to 10 minutes of news a day. I don't want my life overwhelmed and bombarded with all that crap I don't want in my head. I'm going to try to live life the way my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and the people before him lived, which is read your news, just a little bit at a time. Let it sit a while. I'm not going to let that be the center of my life. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to enjoy life, and I'm going to keep as informed as I need to be, but I'm not going to let it be a black cloud that follows me around everywhere.
And I would agree 100%. I don't do exactly as you do, Franklin. I do follow the news extremely closely. And I'm sorry to my Patreon that you guys aren't getting the intel reports I used to put out. I'm trying to get the time to be able to produce those again. But I'm going to echo what Franklin said. In spite of what is going on in the world, remember to stop, look around, count your blessings, and enjoy your life. We all have happy days. We all have bad days, but hopefully the majority of them are happy days, and that's the space we want to operate in.
100%.
Yeah, pay attention, but don't let it overtake your soul. Like me, I'm very on the pulse. Anything happens is within moments I'm going to know about it because it's just the way I do things. But I'm also working. Franklin obviously puts in a lot more work writing. Sorry, guys. My life's way more difficult. It's not as simple as his. Because you got it easy, bro. I wish I did. I wish that's all I had to do. I lock
the gate and I don't let people come in.
God damn, dude. I got a pistol class coming up that I don't even want to do, but I got to do it for somebody else. I got I got to teach a bunch of goddamn brand new green shooters and get them their CCW permits or letters so they can get permits. I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I was asked to do it. I'm going to do it. And they'll never know the difference in class because I'm not going to let them know. But Franklin, I want to say a huge thanks, buddy, for being here. I feel like I've talked over you all night. You ain't got to talk a lot. Is there anything additionally you want to offer?
Nope.
Folks?
I appreciate you having me. It's always good to hang out. I'll do it anytime.
That's what I love about him. He's my favorite hillbilly. The guy's so easy. You know, he
laid back.
He's easy like Sunday morning. I'm just saying, y'all. He's easy like Sunday morning. Franklin, brother, thank you for being here. Congrats. Holy shit. Over 40 titles. Wow. I can only imagine. Like, I wish I could. I really do. If motherfuckers would leave me alone just long enough, I could get more out. But I am continually and daily forced into other people's lives to deal with their shit, and that's what's eating up a lot of my time. And I'm sorry, but I'm one of those guys that I can't see need, like genuine need, without feeling the over impulsive urge to fulfill the need. And it's a character flaw in myself. I recognize it. It don't change shit. If they show up, I'm gonna do everything I can to help them.
You nice people are ruining it for the rest of us.
Yeah, you nice fuckers are really fucking things up. I'm starting to become a jaded son of a bitch. I'm just saying. But Franklin, bro, always, like, genuinely from my heart, a good time to hang out with you. I love seeing you. I wish you, me, and Steve Bird could get together just for like one. Like, we need to do one live stream, just the three of us. Like, that needs to happen.
We do need to do that
on his place, like, because there'll be fire, there'll be shooting, there'll be alcohol, whiskey, and a bunch of other bullshit involved. But we have to make that happen. Like, you and me need to go there, and we need to do the thing, and we need to shoot the video, and we need to all share it out. But it needs to happen. And for those of you guys asking, who is Steve Bird? Just go to Amazon, put in Steve Bird, and buy his books, y'all. Read his work. Not only is he an amazing pilot who, sadly, I guess I'll never get to fly with again after the last incident. Yeah, I know you know. It wasn't my fault. None of that shit was my fault.
I didn't say anything.
I just remember Steve looking at me, and I think we were in front of Sloppy Joe's. He's like, "I'm going back to the room," and I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember falling out of the golf club or golf cart. I don't remember the fucking police. I don't remember none of that shit. But there is a Polaroid that captured a moment of it in time that's pretty spectacular. I need to find that fucking thing. I don't think I have it now that I mention it. But Franklin, thanks for being here, bro. You guys don't know, like he and I, like, this isn't pretend fun, guys. Like, me and Franklin, we we're brothers. We get along. We are of the same cloth. We do the same thing. And I will encourage you, if you have not read any of Franklin's book, look it up and get started. Because he puts out All right, we're done. Wait, we're back. We're done. We're back. We're done.
That's a hint, like when Kmart flashed the lights, to remind
you
it's time to get out.
That the blue light. You got the blue light 15-minute special in the clothing section, ladies and gentlemen. No, bros, I'm just giving you shit. But Franklin, thanks for being here, brother. I always love hanging out with you. I can't wait to see you at Mountain Readiness. Mel's not going to be there, sadly. So it'll just be me and you commiserating around the fire with anyone else who wants to show up.
Hey, we'll have a good time either way.
We're going to have a hell of a time. And I want to say thank you, buddy, for being here. Guys, if you don't follow Franklin on all the socials, are you on Twitter, dude?
I don't do Twitter. It's too noisy for me.
Bro, you're slacking. You need to. Like,
I do Instagram because I can post a picture and then I don't have to say anything about it.
You don't have to on Twitter either. Just mute all the notifications. I don't get any notifications from anybody. I mute them all.
You're going to have to coach me on how to do that.
At Mountain Readiness, I'll set you up because you need to be on Twitter because Twitter is the new Facebook. Like, it's the place things happen. So, Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's been awesome. The lovely. I'm sorry, what?
I'm getting in the hot tub.
You're all right. Well, the lovely Mel's, bitch, get out of here. Take that with you. Is going out into the hot tub, and I'm gonna follow her because she's got this amazing appeal. Get the fuck out of here. Put some clothes on. And I'm gonna be out, but I want to say a huge thanks to Franklin. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Russ, of course, and Broken Spoke Productions. And I'm gonna throw out one more, guys. If you don't know who Pete Robertucci is, look him up. He's on Amazon. He's just like me and Franklin. It's a guy writing some shit, but he's writing it from his heart, and you'll see why when you read the first one. The Eden Army is a real thing. That's all I got. Frank, last thoughts. Like, we're gonna exit after this, but just one more back to you in case you got anything left.
Nope. But you all have a good night. I appreciate you all for listening to us. If you want to listen to us more, come to Mountain Readiness.
Hey, fucking man. We went almost 2 hours, Franklin, and that shows just how natural shit is. You know, There ain't no forced bullshit. You guys know the deal. This is the podcast of the week. We will have one next week. Mountain Readiness, things might get a little complicated. We'll see how things occur because when Mel's follow-up from surgery and my departure, they overlap a little bit. I might not be there in time, but everybody else will be there, even if I'm not. We'll still throw it out on my channel, and I might join from the truck. I might drive up. So I want to give you a huge thank you, Franklin, for get your ass.
Is Franklin still there?
Get out. Yes, everybody's still there. Go away.
Tell Franklin I said hello.
Yeah, Franklin, she says, like, get your ass out of here.
Hey, Mel.
Yeah, go away. Put that shit up. I want to just say thank you for being here, buddy. I want to, and a big thank you to everybody. Don't forget Mountain Readiness, guys. First weekend in May. There is a chance to win free tickets. If you're on Twitter, follow Mountain Readiness. You'll see the post. I share it. It's out there every day. We're giving away some free access to Mountain Readiness. But if you come, you'll be able to sit down with me, with Franklin, with Pete Robertucci, with so many other vendors, too, of incredible equipment. Alan and I have something we're working on. We might be able to bring that up later, but not yet. But he does have a big announcement for Mountain Readiness, which is super fucking cool. So, you guys know the drill. Franklin, thank you for being here. I love you, brother. You're my favorite hillbilly in the whole fucking world.
Appreciate you. Love you too, man. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. 3
I remember you when you were a working man and you still had a job for real.
I know. Can you believe that?
Like, I'm fixing to go back to it. Can you fucking believe that shit?
No, I can't.
Me neither. Fuck it. It's bullshit. I don't want to do it. But Donnie's going to starve to death, so I can't help it. Guys, you know the drill. Be good at it. We will catch you next week live from the same bat time, same bat place. If Broken Spokes has their shit together. Otherwise.